Yes.
Okay, Andrew.
Yes, Isaiah and myself are here.
Okay, Isaiah. Great to meet you, both of you. Do you need you, Andrew, or Isaiah, who need to share screen?
Isaiah is going to share his screen.
Okay, I'm gonna give you the power to do that.
Beautiful.
I think you're ready.
All right.
Just before you start, I
want
to mention that we normally have 10 to 15 minutes for your presentation, so we want to leave some time for questions and answers, and hopefully you will just keep that in mind as you begin sharing. Thank you.
We will definitely be respectful of everyone's time. Well, thanks everyone for having us. My name's Andrew Litchfield. I'm here with my partner Isaiah. Isaiah is going to go through the presentation, but before we do, just want to introduce ourselves. I've been a developer in the Boston area for about 10 years now. Do most of my work in Roxbury, Mattapan, Dorchester, some in South Boston. And Isaiah and I purchased this property, which also includes 49 West Cottage Street, which is an existing 3-family. Isaiah will show that in the presentation, which is a property that we're keeping as a rental property. We're doing some work to it right now, just finished the roof and going to do some siding to it to, make it look good for the neighborhood. And that's what we're here to do. So Isaiah's going to share his screen, and we're going to talk about 2 to 6 Readfield Street, or Readfield Place, I'm sorry, which is a U-shaped lot in the rear of 49 and 47 West Cottage. We're proposing a 7-unit building with 10 parking spaces. 8 of those parking spaces will be surface parking. And then we have 2 parking spaces that will be garage, where there's a townhouse style unit there. So without further ado, I'm going to have Isaiah take you through the presentation, and then we're happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Andrew. Hello, everybody. My name is Isaiah Thelwell. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to present to you guys tonight. We look forward to answering any of your questions, and without further ado, let's get started. So just to get our bearings here, the property is kind of squared in between West Cottage Street, Brook Avenue, and Woodville Street. This is what the property, this is a kind of a snapshot of what the property looked like when we purchased it. It was kind of overgrown. Right now we have a dumpster on site, and to clean it up and make it look in better condition for the community. So here's our existing plot plan. Again, for our bearings, going west on West Cottage Street, it's in between 49 West Cottage, which we own, and 47 West Cottage Street. It's an 8,000 square foot lot, a little bit more than 8,000 square feet. Anybody has any questions? Here is our proposed plot plan. So as Andrew mentioned earlier, we have 10 total, we're proposing 10 total parking spaces. 8 of them will be surface parking with a mix of compact and full parking spaces. 2 of those will be garaged parking spaces, only accessible for the townhouse unit. There'll be a 6-foot privacy fence throughout the building itself and the lot. Here is our front elevation, 3-story building, so it's 3 stories high. If you guys can see my cursor, the left, this is the townhouse unit that we were talking about. So that has its own private garage, own private door entrance. And this is our rear elevation. You guys can see levels 2 and 3, they will have deck access. So like have their own little deck that they'll be able to access. So here's our interior layout. So to put it simply, unit 1 is the only unit that really has any variation. Much variation. Units 2 through 7 kind of remain pretty similar. So unit 1, as I mentioned, there's 2 garage spaces. One will be a full parking space. The other will be a compact parking space. Units 2 and 3 have a open concept kitchen, living room, washer and dryer, walk-in closet. 2 bedrooms on each. I forgot to mention 2 bedrooms. All units will be 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. Level 2, so for that unit 1 unit, level, they go up the stairs to the second level. That'll be the kind of open concept kitchen, dining, living. You have your washer and dryers, utilities, coat closet, etc. Unit 5 and unit 4, much like unit 2 and 4, 2 and 3 rather, I'm sorry. Open concept kitchen, both your bedrooms, walk-in closet, washer and dryer, bathrooms, etc. And finally, for the third level, so unit 1, that's where your living quarters are. So both your both your bedrooms are on that third floor for unit 1, and your bathrooms, walk-in closets too. For unit 6 and 7, open concept living, both your bedrooms, both your bathrooms, same thing, kind of I already mentioned. Here's the rendering. It's a beautiful building. So we kind of have a two-tone gray facade here. The lower third of the building is a light gray. The upper 2/3 is a darker gray. As you can see here, there's a townhouse unit, paved road and parking space, and the privacy fence throughout the building. I'll let Andrew explain the zoning for us.
Thanks, Isaiah. Let's wait for it to come up.
Is there an audio issue?
Okay. So, yeah, as far as the zoning analysis, so there's a few very. Can everyone hear me?
I can hear you now, Andrew. It was a little choppy before.
Isaiah, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, yeah.
Okay. All right. Everyone can hear me now? Okay. So, I'll just take you through the zoning analysis. You know, essentially, we're looking for a few variances. We have the additional lot area per unit. So we have a proposed lot. We should have about 2,500 square feet. We're about 800 square feet. The minimum lot frontage, since it is off of Readfield Place, which at 50 feet, we have 12 feet. The max FAR, which is the floor area ratio. Essentially, it's the livable square footage divided by the lot size, which is 1.3, and it is 0.8. We go to a usable open space. We only have about 200 square feet. We do have the decks, but they don't count towards that open space. There's a few variances on the setbacks. It's on the left-hand side of the property. And then we have parking requirement, which we actually meet that parking requirement, which is a 1-to-1 ratio of 1.4 to 1. Isaiah, you want to go to the next slide?
Are we still sharing? Everybody can still see our screen? Okay.
Yep. All right. So just some past projects that we've done, so you can have a little idea of the work we do. This is a 2-family renovation in Dorchester on Alpha Road. I'm sorry. Can everyone hear me? Isaiah, can you hear me too?
Yes,
I can hear you.
we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear
Okay, great. Sorry about that. All right. So yeah, this is a 2-family renovation we've done in Dorchester. Obviously, we like to pay attention to details, make it look really nice, and that will be the plan, obviously, with Readfield Place as well. Want to go to the next slide, Isaiah?
Andrew, maybe you only do voice because he's getting your voice getting choppy.
Okay.
There we go.
I can try to take it. I can try to take the rest of these slides, Andrew, too.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead, Isaiah?
Yeah, so like Andrew was saying, just to give you guys an idea of the kind of kind of what we can do. So I think this project was also in Dorchester. Again, nicely, that building on the left wasn't kind of really serving the community. It was kind of, wasn't in the best shape. We kind of like to take it and make it beautiful and much more useful.
Yep.
Here's a development that was done in East Boston. So just so you know, we also have experience with new construction. And yeah, that's it. Any questions? Thank you guys for giving us the floor here.
Thank you guys for sharing. So let's open it up for folks to, if you have any questions about this project, what you've seen, please raise your hand. And, Philip.
Hi, how you doing, guys? Nice to see you again.
Hey, Philip.
Hey, Philip.
So yeah, we talked about all these some issues at the abutters meeting. Somebody just actually asked a question. I just saw it pop up about the trees.
Yep.
Any progress on that tree survey?
Isaiah, do you have a chance to pull that up? So
I
if
sure
everyone
do.
can hear me, Philip, we have been working on that.
Okay.
Isaiah's gonna pull it up, and you're gonna see that there's a few trees in the rear that we will have to cut, but the majority of the trees along the driveway side or the parking side we're able to keep.
Are you guys able to see this?
So we can send this to you as well, Phil, and you'll see the tree that, yep, you'll see the existing trees that are there that we're able to keep. And then towards the back, since the building does jut out in the back, there's a few trees in the rear that we will have to cut.
Yeah,
but
in the
very
rear,
conscious of, keeping as much as we can. And the plan would be that anything that we're able to take, we have to take down, we'll want to put back up, add some trees. They won't be as big, obviously, but
the trees by the parking are going to stay mostly, except for that one that's dead.
yeah, the one that's dead will go away.
Right.
The majority of those, the existing trees that will remain.
So the ones that are showing up in green are staying? Because I see some like watermark ones.
The ones in green are staying.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the ones in green are staying. The ones that are watermarked will have to be removed.
Okay.
And so the ones that are in green, are any of those the replacements for the ones that are cut, or are those existing trees?
Yeah, good question. So you see the smaller ones, Isaiah, I don't know if I can put your cursor on these smaller little ones by the parking, and then there's a few more on the bottom left of the lot. Those are new trees we'll be planting.
Okay.
And just to share, the BPDA does require us to do a whole landscape plan. So we'll have that together for the neighborhood and for the abutters.
Okay. Yeah, I'm mostly concerned about those really big shade trees right along the property line there that, that produces a lot of shade and, heat mitigation for the big lot next door, the DNI lot.
Yes.
Lots of kids play in that lot. Those are pretty important that they remain, in my book, those big ones, especially the shade trees.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And if anybody else has anything to say about the trees, because I had one other issue that I brought up about the mitigating the issues with cars coming in and out across the sidewalk on West Cottage Street. Because now we're gonna have a bunch of cars coming in, and like a lot of cars back there coming in and out. And if there's any way to sort of try to minimize any sort of pedestrian, problems that might that might happen with this increased traffic down this little road.
Yes, we looked at that as well. If you can see towards the front of West Cottage, you see the
Uh-huh.
active driveway sign. Now, we'll definitely get more details and more in depth on that for you, Philip. But yeah, that's something we're definitely looking more into.
Okay.
Maybe something flashing would be helpful as well. But we can definitely put up an active driveway signage on both sides.
Yeah, just want to make that very safe right there, because there's a lot of kids that are constantly up and down these sidewalks, and
Definitely,
just watching out for that.
of course.
Well, and I just want to comment that certainly helps, I guess, to let pedestrians know. And maybe there could be some signage that says, look out for pedestrians to remind the drivers, because sometimes you forget.
Definitely. We'll make a note of that, Marcos.
Thank you. So are all the trees that are there, like, are any of them invasive species? Are they like treelings that just never were managed, or are these all sort of bona fide?
Marcos, I will get you. We're still waiting to hear back on the species of everything.
Mhm.
It was, there's a lot that was just obviously not managed well. And like towards the middle, like those are really small trees that will have to come out. But I'll get you the species types. And I'm gonna look more into that back area because I think that's there's 3 of the bigger ones that we do have to remove because of the building right there. But
Yeah.
I don't want to tell you what the species are until I know exactly what they are. Okay.
Yeah, no, thank you. I was curious about that because some of them just, again, like you said, nobody took care of what was there, and it just became a huge tree. I see Sam has their hand up. Sam?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for the presentation. Samuel Hurtado, I'm a neighbor here on North Ave. So I walk every day with my dog along Cottage Street. So I pass this driveway every day, and I'm almost never, not cautious, but like there is no traffic or that you need to be aware of cars coming in and out. I walk all around those streets. I don't recall any other property that has this many number of cars that will be coming in and out of the driveway. So there's just a comment on the trees. One of the challenges with the trees, so one is Roxbury has been declared a heat island. So we do need all those trees. And although what we've seen in other projects, and I know you have the best intentions to preserve as many of the trees that are already in there, but when you start digging down for your foundations, you are going to cut roots, and those roots go everywhere. So when you cut those roots, those trees will die. So as much as you want to mitigate and preserve, this seems just too dense, going to the lines of the lot lines. Now I look up this one, and it was approved for a 3-family in 21. Were you guys aware of that?
Yes, we were, Sam.
Okay. And why did you then, so you knew it was approved for 3, you bought it knowing that it was approved for 3. So why are you now coming to more than double it?
So it was approved for 3 back in 2021, which it gives them a 2-year window. So that window has passed. We have to.
I thought it was 10 years that they're approved for 10 years.
No, unfortunately, it's only 2 years unless you can get an extension and probably a couple extensions, but it's 2 years, and then you can go for a year extension, but that previous person did not do that. The other thing I want to mention as well, Sam, the building footprint is almost the exact same. It was an L shape, and the changes were that the 3 units were like 2,200 square feet, 2,200 square feet, and then one was 3,500 square feet. So they were just really big. And, you know, from doing so much work around here, if you can build them at 1,000 or 1,200 square feet, they're much more affordable for, you know, for the neighborhood rather than being that big. So.
Okay. In terms of the price range, what are you looking at?
You know, we're probably looking, and again, we're a ways out. Obviously, this is our first meeting with you. Maybe it's a year from now that, you know, we can actually build and all that. But I would say, you know, 450 to maybe 650 on the higher end, maybe that townhouse. So that's an idea of what we're thinking.
And are you aware that this area is where land trust was created, that many of the neighbors here have fought for affordable housing to make sure this stays a working class community? Are you committed to any affordable units?
So yeah, with the 7 units, one is required to be affordable. So 1 unit will be affordable in this building.
1 unit, okay. What is your team? Is it how diverse is your team?
What do you mean by that, Sam? So
Yeah,
I said,
who is part of your equity? Who has equity in your company? How many?
oh, it's so Isaiah and myself are the 50-50 owners of the property.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So if you get approved, then you keep it or you flip it to then say, okay, we're going to sit on it and then resell it as permitted.
No, we'll most likely be building this. I do a lot of building in this area. They'll be listed for condos most likely. You never know if a scenario changes and they may need to be rentals, but we're, projecting for condos, and we would be involved in the build.
Okay. Any community package that you have to mitigate the density, the parking, more traffic?
Sorry, say that one more time, Sam.
What are you proposing in terms of community benefits? Besides that, I mean, the affordable housing, you're doing it because you are required. You're not doing it because you.
Correct. No, Sam, we're totally open to hearing, what works best for the community, what certain things you're looking for. We do a lot of work in this area, and there's some neighborhood associations that want certain things or would benefit the community most. So we're all ears. If there's something that you think would work best, and that would be helpful, we'd love to talk about it.
Okay. All right. Those are all my questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Sam.
You're muted, Marcus.
Oh, sorry. I said, thank you, Sam. And Jose, you've had your hand up, and then we'll go to Philip again.
I don't have a question, but I want to ask DSNI to make sure we'll take notes and write those promises, because we had in the past a lot of promises, a lot of developers that come in and promise a lot of things. Then years later, you go to them, they say, no, I don't remember, I don't recall. So there's affordability. If we can make sure we put it on the next to the development, the title of the project, anything, so we can revisit any benefits that they promise to the community. So DSNI tend to put a lot of trust on friendship, and then years later, there is no way, we don't have any record of it. We cannot even, if someone else comes to DSNI, we don't have any way to go back to it. So just to make sure every time there is something that is important to the community is written down so we can go back and visit it. One big example is the Croc Center. There was tons of promises and we didn't have anything written. So it's a big lesson for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Jose. You can lower your hand also, Jose. Philip.
Who are you? You're going to maintain the existing 49 West Cottage Street as a rental property?
Yes, that's correct, Philip.
Is it going to be, you're going to renovate it inside and outside, I'm assuming?
Well, currently it is occupied.
Yeah.
So I guess as the units become available, that's when we'll do that.
That's my question is I'm friends with the Haitian family who lives there. They're recent immigrants and they're wonderful people. And I don't want to see them be displaced in this whole project either.
No, Philip, we're working with them right now. We're talking
Okay.
to their caseworker, and I'm sure you know that the previous owner's mother is on the first floor.
Yeah.
She'll be there, but obviously we want to make sure that the living conditions are right too. So
Of course.
we've been talking to everyone, and that's the plan is to keep the families there. And then if they do decide they want to move, we will update the units as they become available. But the outside will be done.
Obviously, with one of the missions of this organization is development without displacement.
Yes.
So we want to make sure that that's happening. So thanks.
Of course.
Thank you, Philip. Renee, you have your hand up?
Sure. Yes, this is Rene Mardones. I'm with DSNI. Jose, remember we record all those meetings. So all the recording are going to be available on the YouTube Sustainable Development Committee YouTube channel. So anyone can go back and review what been discussed and presented in this meeting. So I have a question because I remember the previous owner have an issue with access for emergency vehicles from West Cottage to Readfield Place. That has been resolved, or is something that you're still trying to have a conversation with the homeowners of 47 West Cottage?
Good question, Renee. So if you can see this little bump out on 49 West Cottage, that's about 3 feet right there, where when we do our siding, we're actually going to remove that bump out and make it flush. So that is going to help with our fire truck access. We still need to have conversations with 47 West Cottage and Phillip on gaining a little bit more space to create that 20-foot drive aisle that the fire department needs. So we're still working with that, but I think that the bump out is going to alleviate a lot of that, and wouldn't have to move Phillip's meters or gas meters or stuff like that. It would just be an easement that we would need for the couple of extra feet to create that 20-foot.
Mike, you have your hand up.
Yes. My question is, what about energy efficiency? What about gas versus electric, any solar? What are the kind of, climate pieces of this proposal?
That's a great question, Michael. So just want to make sure I'm not going to be choppy. So energy efficiency wise, obviously we know that the majority of new construction is going all electric. I've done that on a few of my new buildings, and it's something that we would be most likely doing here. So all electric, if we do any gas, it may just be for gas stoves. But for the most part, I think we're probably going to do all electric. I can confirm with you guys, soon on that. We are going to work on setting up EV charging stations, probably be 2 of them for the parking spaces. And I don't know if we will put the solar, but we will make them solar ready. So we'll have the conduit brought up to the roof.
And what about the efficiency, of the building, weatherization, insulation, LEED standards or other?
Oh yeah, yeah, Michael.
standards?
Yeah, everything's gonna meet the standards. I mean, we're gonna go off of our the energy stretch codes. We have to have a HERS rating done on all the properties. So, the energy code for the windows will meet. We'll do extra insulation. We do hardy board siding. I can kind of give you a couple examples of projects that we've done. But we always like to go a little bit above the code as it exists.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Are there any other questions? Otherwise, I have a question of you guys. So I definitely think it's great that we're keeping those trees and replacing the ones that are going to be cut down. You mentioned that you need to submit a landscaping plan to BPDA. I was just curious about, that landscaping plan, because I don't see a lot of green space. And so I noticed that you have permeable pavement with those, what do you call them? Stones.
Yeah, pavers.
Yeah, pavers. But again, I think it's not just the heat island piece. It's also the mental health aspect of having green around you and being able to be outside. I heard you mention that there will be, I guess, what do you call them, decks outside.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if you can speak to the green space elements of your plan.
Yes, of course, Marcos. So, yeah, you are right. There's not a ton of green space. We're not gonna sit here and say that there is. You can see in the rear of the property. So everyone will have some sort of patio in the back. If they're on the first floor, if they're on the second and third floor, they'll have some deck space. One thing I'm gonna start thinking about, because I know, this has been brought up a few times, is that on the L-shaped at that end, maybe we can move that building in a little bit to create a little bit more green space. Isaiah, if you can just show, I think it's, over the bottom or the top left, that area right there. I think that's where we can add a little bit more green space and maybe be able to keep one or two of those trees. Sometimes what we do, Marcos, to kind of, it's not green space, but it's outdoor space, is we will add roof decks in this. We also know that in the neighborhood, most neighborhoods are not really for roof decks. That's why we did not do them here. So they just have the decks in the rear and the patios.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason the reason I ask about the green space, open space is that I'm assuming that you're also intending for these to serve families, and so sometimes it's not possible to take kids too far away, so it's useful to have something that's safe and accessible to.
One thing, Marcos, I'd like to bring up is typically when you submit a plan like this to the after the zoning board, to the BPDA, they, believe it or not, have the authority to take away parking spaces based on making sure that you're still above that 1-to-1 ratio. So I guess it's like a question for the neighborhood. Would we be open to, maybe removing one of the parking spaces to create more green space? I know it's kind of a give and take with having, enough parking for guests and people living there, but also, creating that green space. So that's something we're open to as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think that so you have at least one parking per unit, right?
Yeah. So currently there's
2 extra ones?
three additional
Okay,
after the 1-to-1.
okay. I mean, that may be an option, right? Just, again, getting back to, people seeing more than pavement,
Yes.
you know, so,
Okay, that's
Thank
something
you.
we can look at.
thank you. Any other, questions from folks? I think we're certainly past the 15-minute mark, right? But it's great to have you guys.
Marcos, one
Yes.
one last comment. Is there any requirement for on-the-ground studies? You know, I think that area is where the brook used to be. So I don't know if there is kind of a lot of rain, and where would the water go to filtrate, if there is any on-the-ground
Yeah,
water?
that's a good question, Sam. So we haven't started that process yet, but once it's actually after you're approved, but you have to put together a whole civil engineering plan that gets submitted to Boston Water and Sewer, and they have to approve it. And the goal of all of that is not just talking about bringing the water lines in, but to contain the water on the site. So there will be a storm drainage plan system in place. There'll probably be tanks below the parking area down there where the drainage will all go to. So I know that the Boston Water and Sewer Department is very keen on making sure that, you know, the storm drainage runoff or you know, any sort of water runoff is contained on the site.
Okay, thank you. And the parking lot, one of the parking spaces, the one that's very close to 47, are you allowed to go that close to the lot line, or are you supposed to have some setback?
For parking, you are able to, but you know, listen, we're happy to work with the owners at 47 West Cottage and move that over a little bit. I think there's a little bit of reconfiguration we can do with this parking area to create a little bit more green space and, you know, create a buffer for the neighbors too.
Yeah, I will defer to Phillips for that.
Yeah, that would be something we'd want to talk about.
Definitely. Okay.
Okay, if there's no more questions, thank you guys for sharing your plans. And you know, again, as Rene mentioned, we will, you know, have the local resident conversation later. And Rene or one of the other DSNI staff will follow up with you as well.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.